All right, Bannock County Commissioners are back in session. This is a public hearing for the area of city impact for the city of Chubbuck. And before we start...
Chubbuck or Airmo?
Oh, sorry, this is Airmo. I grabbed the wrong sheet.
No, it's Chubbuck. This is Chubbuck. Chubbuck is Chubbuck.
Yeah, it is Chubbuck. So, yep.
Right, Johnny.
So before we start, Hal, I'd like you to give your speech, which might answer a bunch of questions. So
Okay.
This is Hal Jensen, the Director of our Planning and Development Office. Hal?
Hal Jensen, Planning Director, Bannock
Oh,
County.
and Hal, I had a request for you to speak up so they can hear you in the back.
Are there any speakers? Because we can even hardly hear you.
Okay, we'll try to speak loud. How's
Okay,
that?
that's good.
All right, thank you.
Hal Jensen, Planning Director, Bannock County. So that you know the reason why we are here. If you have received a notification that you live within the ACI of Chubbuck, you're currently in the ACI. And you've been in the ACI for a number of years. The ACI the state statute relative to the area of city impact had some issues the way it was originally written, giving cities a little more jurisdiction than should have been allowed, is a good way to put it. And so the legislature in last legislative session got together and changed the language stating that an area of city impact is controlled by the county, by their zoning ordinances and by the legislative body, which is the Board of County Commissioners. In that process, they went and rewrote the statute and said all counties will have your areas of city impact between the city and the county renegotiated by the end of the year. So therefore, that's why you're here. Under the Land Use Planning Act for the state of Idaho, an area of city impact is a tool that is used to coordinate growth between a city as it moves towards a county. The new the new language states that you renegotiate based upon the fact on whether or not a city can potentially provide services within 5 years. Okay? Services means all services: water, sewer, fire, police, etc. Okay? Whether that's true or not, we sat down and negotiated and had conversations with all of the cities on where they anticipate their projected growth. The city of Chubbuck has been greatly diminished. Okay? We have received letters from people in subdivisions that say currently we have sewer, or we currently have city water, or we have city water and sewer, and we would like to opt out. I'm sorry, but the language of the statute does not allow you to opt out. You are in the ACI. If you have comments, we invite you to come forward and express your concerns about the ACI. We're not here to answer questions, etc. If you have those questions after today's meeting, please come to my office, speak with me or any member of my team at 5500 South 5th. We'll be glad to pull up your personal property on the map and look at why those particular decisions were made the way that they are.
Thank you. All right, so again, just a very summary, we're not here today to talk about annexation. We're not here to talk about taxes. We're just here to talk about the reduction to the area of city impact, okay? So with that, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I'd make a motion that we go ahead and open the public hearing for the ACI area of Chubbuck City, the city of Chubbuck.
All right, we have a motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, when I call your name, come up. You'll have 2 minutes to state your comments. Because of the size, we're a little bit behind schedule. We're going to go 2 minutes. But we'll see from there. So Keith, we'll start with you.
I'm going to ask, I'm not asking you to read this. I just want you to look at the map on the front so you see what I'm talking about. There's 3 of them there. I'll let you look at those, pass those down if you don't mind.
Okay.
All right. My name is Keith Jensen. I represent my company, Novatech Professional Corporation. I am here to appeal for the protection of the County Commission. You're in negotiations right now on the ACI for Chubbuck. The land that Novatech rests on. I own that land. I'm the president of the company. 8 years ago, I came before this commission to appeal, to get some land in McCammon rezoned so we could move Novatech onto that. That was denied, but the planning and zoning guy suggested, why don't you find a piece of ground that's already zoned industrial so you can move your company onto that and then buy that ground? We have done that. That piece of ground you see on that map is that piece of ground. It is county ground, it's zoned industrial. If Chubbuck absorbs us with their, not annexes, but even being in the ACI is a threat to the company, because if they say, okay, we're gonna annex you as part of the city, they can say, well, you're just grandfathered in, but you can't grow. You can't do any more expansion on that piece of ground. So I'm appealing to you for protection against that action. Since the ACI is in negotiation, I appeal to you to negotiate that piece of ground is 1.1 acres, remains in the county under your jurisdiction. Because if the ACI is locked in, you lose jurisdiction over that piece of ground and I lose your protection.
Okay. Thank you. And I don't know if you listened to what Hal said.
I've talked quite a bit with Hal.
The ACI is under our jurisdiction, which is what the new statute made very clear. So if you are in the ACI, you have been and will be still in the county's jurisdiction.
But my understanding, and my attorney, the company attorney, has said that that if the ACI is locked in, that then Chubbuck can come and annex that land, which is our company's operation, that they can annex that without going to you for permission or having to involve you in any way. And
That's a separate process, and you're
that is a separate process, and that's something that I'll talk with, you're John?
Hal.
I am, you can speak.
Okay, I haven't had time.
Okay,
Thank you.
You bet. Brett Carlson?
Brett Carlson, Buffalo Road. You're saying it's still under your jurisdiction, but you require on the agreement that we give the city of Chubbuck sole discretion for annexation, so you're deferring your responsibility to the city once you put it in the ACI, as I understand it. Because the city then can take it without you can't prevent it. So you sitting here saying that it's still under our jurisdiction, you still have our protection, is patently false, because you're requiring an agreement that allows us to cede my input and your input to the city of Chubbuck. Is that correct?
I'll defer to our legal team for that question.
No, I don't believe that's correct. The agreement that says any development will require an agreement that requires it to be stated on the agreement that we agree at the city of Chubbuck's sole discretion that it can be annexed. Once we put that agreement on there, you've lost your say and I've lost my say. It's solely at the discretion of the city of Chubbuck.
That was already there.
Okay, so.
That was already there. City of Acom,
If I understand this map correctly, everything in brown that says was the previous ACI, what's in purple is the new ACI. Perhaps that wasn't clear. Maybe the purple was already brown, you just can't see it anymore.
The purple was already
Okay.
brown.
But we didn't get notice when it was put into that ACI the first time. We didn't have this opportunity, I understand.
That was 20 or 30 years
Okay.
ago.
So let me go back and say, the reason I'm here is my father owns several acres along Buffalo Road, and he's here with me, but I'm speaking because he doesn't hear too well. He signed an agreement with Mayor John Cotent of the city of Chubbuck in 1976.
Which we saw.
It was signed,
We have that on
notarized,
the
and
record.
recorded. And that agreement says that the city of Chubbuck will not annex him unless he provides written request for annexation. If any development requires us to stamp on the agreement that the city of Chubbuck can do it at their sole discretion, you're requiring us to cede the agreement that we have with the city of Chubbuck in order for any development.
That discussion will take place at the time if and when Chubbuck decides to go that way, and so that would be up to you to negotiate that.
But if I have to stamp that on any agreement, if I have to say, I agree that the city of Chubbuck can annex this at its sole discretion, there's no more discussion. The county's required me to put that language on there.
So that language is it's part of a development agreement. If you are connecting to city water and sewer, then you would be required to enter into a development agreement with the city of Chubbuck,
Oh.
and part of that development agreement would be that verbiage.
Okay.
So that requirement does not kick in unless you are creating a development that you are going to connect to city water
Okay,
and
so
sewer
so if I'm adding an
services.
outbuilding on the property, because it's an agricultural property,
You would not be required
Okay.
unless you're planning to connect to city water and sewer.
okay. Now, there's some finer print in that same contract I just mentioned that said the city will provide us a free connection to city services without annexing. Also in the agreement I just mentioned. He offered them a utility easement, they agreed not to annex without written request, and to provide city services.
And again, that'll be between you and Chubbuck when that time comes.
But how can I, but if the county requires me to put this language on there, I've already ceded that right to the city of Chubbuck. This language basically requires me to walk away from a contract that I have in place.
Well, I'm going to tell you your time is up, and if you'd like to stick around a little bit afterwards, we can have more discussion with the planning and legal team.
Okay.
But to allow other people to have their chance, I'm going to have to
Understood.
have you
And
move on.
I'll-
But thank you for
I'll probably
coming.
check with Hal. I just want to
Okay.
make sure that we don't get painted into a corner that we hadn't
Agreed.
anticipated.
Agreed, appreciate
Okay.
that. Thank you. Josh Bringhurst?
Josh Bringhurst, North Yellowstone Highway. I'm here representing my family. We own 4 plots there off of Yellowstone. My brother Lewis, my sister Darcy, and, oh shoot, you always forget one, Lynette. So,
Is she the middle child?
and no, she's actually one of the older ones. I'm the youngest, so. I appreciate you letting me take a little bit of your time. I do have to say on the record, I've been here for 2-3 others, and I was trying to get a feel for what this process was about. I do want to say it's a shame that Mayor England is not here, and it's a shame that Mayor Bladd didn't attend the previous one as mayor. So I do understand that I've been in the ACI. I am not oblivious to that. However, the land between my property and the city limits, a lot's changed. Some family members passed away, and that's been sold to a developer who I've spoken with. He plans to develop it further beyond and north of my property. There's 5 acres ag, 5 acres ag, some land I'm not sure of, and then Tyhee School, and then across from Tyhee Industrial. There's not really much room for Chubbuck to really move past my property, and so I'm trying to understand why, when the reduction in ACI happened, why I was still included, why our 4 plots were still included. According to your guys' language, the ACI is here to help plan for cohesive roads, utilities, and services before growth happens. I understand that it's not a guarantee that I'll be annexed. I understand that, but it is one step closer to it. If it does happen in the future, we don't want to be a part of Chubbuck. We want to stay county. And a lot of what I've heard lately is a lot of this, the way the map was drawn, it's getting blamed on a planning tool, and I want to know what that actually means, because that has not been made clear. It seems like a program or some ambiguous thing is making decisions and not a person. And so I think I would appreciate some clarification on that, because it seems like that's getting most of the blame for the ACI map the way it is. But I do appreciate your time, so thank you.
I'm going to have Hal wait to answer that until we go through a couple more, but then we'll make sure that gets answered before. So Hal, you can work on your answer. Castleman? Walt? You decided to speak,
My
Walt?
name is Walt Bierback. I live on Chubbuck, out in Chubbuck, or in the county. I'm on 14661 West Leah. The city of Chubbuck just built a subdivision across the street from us, and I just want to say I'm not for being annexed. I don't want to be on city water and sewer and all that. I want to be left alone. It's kind of why we moved out there. We like being in the county, and we did not receive a map. We'd like to have a map of this proposed stuff. I hope you guys just don't. I'm against it, so that's all I really have to say.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Yeah, my name's Mike Duty.
Mike, you got to come up to the,
I guess I was just here to talk about annexation, but I guess that's.
We're not talking about
out of line,
annexation.
So I just want to put my 2 cents worth in. I couldn't figure out where at on the map you was talking about, if it was north of Siphon Road or what. Can anybody clarify that?
Tristan, can you answer that real quick?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I live on Lacey Road.
Okay.
This is kind of too small.
Yes.
So Lacey will still be in the area of city impact?
Yes, it will.
It will be?
Yep.
Yeah, and you've already been in the area of city impact. We've just shrunk it down, but you're still in it.
Okay, well, I guess I don't have anything to say. I was here for the annexation part, so.
Okay, yeah.
That'll be another meeting.
That'll be another meeting.
I hope it's a bigger
Hopefully,
room.
5 to 10 years from
I
now.
hope it's a bigger room.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Bruce?
You guys asked my question, so.
Okay. Larry?
I don't have a question.
Okay. Hal, can you answer that question that was asked about the planning tool?
So under land use planning from the state, the city, the county is a subdivision of state government, okay? So we follow everything that the state statute provides, we basically use as a base for all of our ordinances, all of our legal work, etc. As a county, we are given the opportunity to have things that are more restrictive, should we choose to be more restrictive. We also are allowed to create our own zones. We are allowed to create our own ordinances, etc., to control growth and development patterns, etc. We have control of the land outside of a city line, okay? That said, we still need some sort of a tool that makes sense so that a city that is granted a special charter from the state of Idaho to even exist, as those respective services grow, if someone buys 40 acres adjacent to a city boundary line and they say, we want to subdivide, state statute says, well, if you are touching a city boundary, you're required first to go to the city and request annexation. End of discussion. And until you get get an answer from the city, then you come back to the county and say, the city has denied us because they are not capable of providing services, so therefore we can then do so and use our ordinances to go, to move that subdivision forward. And that is the planning tool that we use. If you are within that ACI, we start those negotiations between the two jurisdictions to control and manage that growth that is occurring around cities. It is a proven fact that tax dollars are more efficiently managed and spent inside of a city boundary than they are in a county because of fire, sewer, water, police, etc. All particular services that are provided in a city. So that you're aware, only Chubbuck and Pocatello have full services. All of the small cities in Bannock County rely upon the county to provide them ambulance service. There are fire jurisdictions, but they also provide, the county also provides policing of those small cities through the sheriff's department. So if you're in a city, you have better in our opinion, you have better response times. Taxes are better and more efficiently used relative to providing life safety and health and welfare, etc. We use it as a planning tool to guide and hopefully predict where growth will occur based upon what we see as people come to us and have conversations, say, I own this property, I'm interested in doing this. Oh, well, how soon are you anticipating to do this? I don't know, maybe in the next year, oh, maybe in the next 5 years, but we have those conversations. We try to use this ACI as well as conversations that we have with the planning departments of the small cities as well as as well as Chubbuck and Pocatello to help manage how that occurs, okay?
Okay, with that, I
I
would,
got a couple of comments to
Okay.
make if it's all right. So with ACIs, I used to be the mayor in Ingham, used to be the mayor in McCammon. 20, 30 years ago, the direction we were told as city governments was you put your ACI out there as far as you can go. So Income's ACI used to come to the Gap. Chubbuck's ACI went to Fort Hall. McCammon's went to Marsh Valley. I mean, that's the way we was taught at that time. What happened was, because the cities thought that they had jurisdiction and could dictate what happened inside those ACIs, it went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court says, no, city jurisdiction ends at the city line. So then the state legislature come back in and they says, we got to straighten part of this out. So they told us, shrink your ACIs. And so our staff has gone to every city, talked to their leadership and their planning people, and says, okay, we're shrinking. If you can't annex this within 5 years, if you can't provide all these services within 5 years, your ACI is shrinking. So Ingham, they shrunk their ACI to the city limits. They don't have anything outside the city limits. So everybody that has been in an ACI already, if you're outside the city limits and you're in the county, you've been in somebody's ACI. We're just shrinking them up so that when we have communications with a city and there is a plan, okay, are you going to provide water, sewer, and all these things for them? We're not having a conversation unless you can provide all these things. And if that ever happens, there will be another public hearing. And you're all invited to that public hearing to voice what goes on. So that's why we're here today, is just to shrink these ACIs up and to have better understanding of what's going on within them. Chair?
okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. We'll answer your question after this, though.
Yes, I will make that motion to close this public hearing for the city of Chubbuck and its ACI.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we got Airmo coming in next.